Hey y'all, this is your girl Tysheen and I'm back with another video. How y'all feeling? How my lovely people doing? So I'm going to be reacting to 10 interesting facts about the Bee Gees. Wow. Sorry y'all, I'm here playing around with this thing here. I'm trying to, okay. Yeah, 10 interesting facts about the Bee Gees. I don't know much about the Bee Gees. There's only a few things I know about the Bee Gees. I know that they're brothers, of course. I know that I think they were born in Australia, if I'm not mistaken. I think they're from Australia. And of course, they owned the 70s and the 80s. Yeah. If you was born then you know that the Bee Gees, they ruled the 70s and the 80s. Come on, let's just keep it real. They were like the kings of the music back then. So yeah, so I don't really, like I said, I don't know much. I know their names, of course. I know Barry is the oldest. Then you have Robin and Maurice. I think they're twins from what I heard. I'm not sure if it's true, but I heard that they're twins. And then the little brother Andy, who passed away real young. I think he passed away at age 30. Was it 30? I think 30. I think he passed away at 30. He was young. He was really, yeah. And he died of, I don't know if it was drugs related, but he died of something. I just don't remember. I don't remember what he died of. But that's it. That's all I know about the Bee Gees.
Created in 1958, the Bee Gees were a group of three brothers who truly changed the music industry forever. Known for their impeccable harmonies, Barry, Robin, and Maurice Gibb combined elements of R&B, disco, pop, soul, and rock to create their own unique genre and sound that the world went crazy for. Most popular for the music they made for the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack, the Bee Gees wrote some of the greatest dance and love songs of the century.
Yes.
Today, we're giving you 10 very interesting facts you might not have known about the Bee Gees. The Bee Gees were inspired by the Beatles' path to fame. From the time they were young boys, the three Bee Gee brothers knew they were going to become famous. Barry says, "When the Beatles came on the scene, that's what we were trying to do. So we made up our own minds that we were going to be part of the British invasion." Their dad, Hugh Gibb, who was also their manager at the beginning of their career, sent the band's first demos to NEMS, Brian Epstein's office. Prior to sending the demos to NEMS, the Bee Gees were turned away by everyone they met in the industry. So their dad took a leap. Being big fans of the Beatles, the Bee Gees hoped Epstein could help get them famous like he did for the Fab Four. Epstein told Peter Brown, a member of the Beatles management team, to give the demos to Robert Stigwood. Stigwood was blown away by the band and became their manager after being entranced by the beautiful harmonies of the three brothers. He says, "You can't deny talent, and the talent was so obvious. After proclaiming the band as the most significant new musical talent of 1969, the Bee Gees started being compared to the Beatles, meaning their dream of stardom and the Beatles-level fame had come true."
They was compared. Well, how were they compared? Like, their sound is totally different. The Beatles and the Bee Gees, their sound is totally different. So I don't know, why would anyone compare them? It's just weird.
Causing a blackout in the recording studio was the origin story of the Bee Gees' first single. While the band was waiting for the power to come back on, they were sitting on the steps in the hallway with Barry playing the guitar. The hallway was very echoey, giving the guitar a unique sound. Barry explained, saying, "There we were in the dark, and the first thought was, in the event of something happening to me, and we thought, well, what could come from that? So we made believe that we were in a mine." The band wanted to give the song a name that would strike people, and decided to call it the New York Mining Disaster.
See, things happen for a reason. That blackout happened for a reason. Everything that happens in your life is for a reason, people. Okay? Just take your time and relax and just try to figure out, why is this happening? Wow.
1941. Interestingly, the song was noted for sounding much like the Beatles, and the radio stations picked up the song quickly because they thought it was them. Even the Beatles themselves heard the similarities. Maurice recalls
I don't
meeting
know.
George Harrison, who told him that he bought a copy of the single because he thought it sounded like the Beatles, to which Maurice responded saying it was unintentional. Harrison told him that he knew and that he was a big fan of the Bee Gees' work. The Bee Gees wrote a song for Otis Redding, but he never got to perform it. It all started when Robert Stigwood got the band to deal with Atlantic Records and introduced them to the company's co-founder, Ahmet Ertegun. Stigwood and Ertegun took the brothers down to see Otis Redding performing at the Apollo. As big fans of soul music, the Bee Gees were thrilled at the chance to see him live and honored when Stigwood asked them to write a song for the idol. They started writing To Love Somebody, which Redding loved. But sadly, Redding died in a tragic plane crash in December of 1967 and never got to record the song. The Bee Gees
His name is on the plane too. Oh, that's sad.
it instead and dedicated it to his memory. Although recorded for Redding, the song was about Stigwood and the band's appreciation for their manager. Barry explains, saying, "It was for Robert. I say that unabashedly. He asked me to write a song for him, personally. It was written in New York and played to Otis, but personally it was for Robert. He meant a great deal to me. I don't think it was a homosexual affection, but a tremendous admiration for this man's abilities and gifts."
Respect.
A combination of Eric Clapton, Miami, and their hit song Jive Talkin' put the Bee Gees back on the map after a long rut. The band broke up for a short time in 1969, bringing their blossoming career to a halt. When they got back together in 1970, they produced 2 successful records until eventually losing the attention of the public. On the brink of being let go by their record label in the mid-70s, Eric Clapton, who shared the same manager as the Bee Gees, recommended that the band go to Miami to record.
I be hearing Eric Clapton name a lot. Anything to do with music, I'm always hearing his name. That man is very talented because people respect him. I don't know much about Eric Clapton, to be honest with you. I only know like one song, and I think I forgot the name of the song. The song's playing in my head, but I can't get it out. It's a song that he dedicated to his son. I think his son had passed away at a young age. I think he died in New York. I think he died. He fell out of the window. I'm not sure how true that is. That's what I read. But that's the only song. I don't know if y'all know the song I'm talking about, but that's the only song I know by Clapton. And I did react to another song by him where he was in a band. I forgot the name of it, but yeah, I don't know much about him. All I know, I hear his name a lot.
Barry says, "We've had a conversation with Eric about making the comeback. Eric said, well, I just made this album called 461 Ocean Boulevard in England. Maybe a change of environment would do something for you." Clapton explained his theory behind the advice, saying, "The studio there was unbelievable, and I think that's what the suggestion was about. I thought those guys were actually an R&B band that hadn't really worked it out yet. I thought this would be so good if they could pick up on what's going on in America." While in Miami, the Bee Gees produced Jive Talkin', which catapulted them back into the limelight. It set a new tone for what their music would be. This time, they were coming back with style and groove. Barry didn't know he could sing falsetto, which would become the signature sound of the Bee Gees. He discovered this new talent when recording Nights on Broadway. Music producer Ari Martin, who was working with the band to help them bring their R&B sound to fruition, wanted in-tune screaming at the end of the song. Maury says, "We were completing Nights on Broadway. We had just done most of the vocal tracks."
I don't know if y'all noticed, and a lot of y'all noticed, I always pronounce his name Maurice because I know people who has that same spelling in their name, but they don't pronounce it Morris. I'm so used to spelling Morris, Morries, but they pronounce it different. Is Morris. It's weird because I noticed a lot of y'all was correcting me in some of the videos because I keep pronouncing his name wrong. But y'all gotta understand, like, I know people whose name is pronounced Morris, but it's spelled Morris. Yeah. It's kind of weird.
Usually, at the end you have some ad-libs, some kind of thing to take us away from the original melody and add some fun. So Barry went out and did the blaming it alls. Arif brought it out of us, all that. I mean, we weren't the first to sing falsetto. We loved the stylistics, the spinners, the delphonics. They were all falsetto lead singers. Inspired by black soul and R&B music, the Bee Gees
That's my girl.
and famous sound.
That's my girl, Shaka Khan.
Given how famous the falsetto singing would make the band, it's crazy to think that for his whole life, up until the recording of Nights on Broadway, Barry didn't know he could sing like that. And after this discovery, the Bee Gees began writing songs for that voice, which is what they would come to be known for. The Bee Gees had another brother. Andy Gibb was the much younger brother of Barry, Robin, and Maurice, but he too wanted to pursue music. Barry wanted to start producing Andy and called him to come to Miami to record. The Bee Gees sound engineer, Carl Richardson, talked about Andy coming to record with his brothers, saying, "The first few times in front of a real professional studio microphone, Andy was petrified. But you know, Barry was there and guided him through and helped him with the lyrics. He was very receptive to the new ideas, and it didn't take him long to find him another groove." With the help of his brothers and their songwriting, Andy had
Look at this
3
picture.
number ones in a row.
Look at this picture. Oh, look at the picture with all 4 of them. Look at them. Can you imagine all your siblings with you and this, and just to know that they all not here? My heart really goes to Barry. My heart really goes to him because look at this. All his brothers together. Sad.
Andy had 3 number ones in a row.
3 number ones.
The most famous being I Just Want to Be Your Everything. In just a short period of time, he became a teen icon for the younger audiences. But after fame and success in the mid-70s, Andy's popularity began to decline as he suffered from addiction. In 1988, the Bee Gees announced that Andy would be joining the band as an official member. But sadly, Andy passed away the same year at the young age of 30. The iconic beat of Staying Alive was born out of necessity. When band member Dennis Bryan flew back to the UK to be with his ill mother, the band was left without a drummer but needed to carry on recording their tracks. Producers Albie Galutin and Carl Richardson improvised, taking a bar out of the song Night Fever, slowing down the tempo and making a loop out of it. Galutin remarks on the ingenuity of the decision, saying, "No one had taken a drum beat before and created a 2-bar phrase. We were breaking new ground. This is the first time we had ever taken a song and built it piece by piece from the ground up. We started with this drum beat and then did a bass line and then a guitar part. Never again would we rely as much on liveness. We would always know that we could construct a song and put the pieces together based on the original vision of the song, how we imagined it. Although it was going to be a temporary fix until Brian came back into the studio, the Bee Gees and the producers decided to keep it because amazing the feel was. Thanks to the Bee Gees' contributions, the soundtrack for Saturday Night Fever became the highest-selling album of all time at that point in history. The band's manager, Robert Stigwood, approached them about writing some songs for the album. Robert explained, saying, "We were recording our new album in the north of France, and we'd written about and recorded about 4 or 5 songs for the new album when Stigwood rang from LA and said, 'We're putting together this little film, low budget, called Tribal Rights of a Saturday Night. Would you have..."
It's me, I don't know. I reacted to the movie, so go check that out. It's in my on my channel, so yeah, go check it out. I love this movie though. I like it.
Songs on hand, and we said, "Look, we can't. We haven't any time to sit down and write for a film. We didn't know what it was about." Eventually, they agreed and wrote the song for the film in apparently a single weekend. First came "If I Can't Have You," which would be performed by Yvonne Elliman. Then came "More Than a Woman," "Night Fever," and "Staying Alive," all of which became the Bee Gees' most successful and recognizable songs. The response to the music was an industry phenomenon, and the Bee Gees became mega-superstars. For a 9-month period starting at the end of 1977, 7 songs written by the band held the #1 position on the US charts for 27 consecutive weeks. The Bee Gees' music for Saturday Night Fever brought disco
I don't know what
into
makes
the
a surprise.
mainstream music scene, but they by no means created the genre. Disco was a genre that was created and consumed by the Black and LGBTQ+ communities throughout the 70s. It was listened to by members of these communities in underground clubs, as it was one of the only safe havens where they could express themselves freely. However, the popularity of Saturday Night Fever, nightclubs across the country began playing disco music, thereby bringing it to the mainstream media. Seeing how profitable the music from Saturday Night Fever was, the music industry began pumping out songs and labeling them disco, most of which was not real disco or just objectively bad. This led to an oversaturation of disco in the music scene that was inauthentic to its rich origins. Next came the anti-disco movement, in which people would destroy disco records and stage protests to show their extreme hatred of the genre. These people who were burning black records and those listened to by LGBTQ+ community brought the end of an era. In its wake, the Bee Gees lost popularity and became uncool. After
What? It was that serious? I mean, come on, y'all. Like, what they say, different strokes for different folks. You know, we're all not gonna like the same thing. But goddamn, you really had to take it that far. Jeez, wheeze.
only a few years of unprecedented success, the Bee Gees resorted to writing songs for other artists. The band struggled tremendously after Saturday Night Fever because of the hatred for disco. Radio stations wouldn't play their new music, and the band had to be accompanied by bodyguards due to death threats. The backlash meant they couldn't do anything as the Bee Gees. Barry explains the transition to becoming songwriters for other musicians, saying, "There was a lot of chaos that I didn't witness, but I was aware of. We were scattered all over the palace for a little while. Robin was either in New York or Maurice was in England. I was alone at the time, and I got a phone call from Barbra Streisand. She asked me about writing songs for her, and that terrified me. So I called my brothers and I said, this is what we gotta do. Robin and Barry co-wrote Woman in Love for Barbra Streisand, which was her greatest hit. In addition to Streisand, the three brothers wrote for Diana Ross, Dolly Parton, and Celine Dion. The band loved this new role. Maurice explains, saying, when you write a song with someone in mind that you really love, and then that person ends up singing it, there's no reward like it. Well, that's all for today.
Okay. Wow. That was very interesting. Okay, yeah. I was expecting more though. I don't know why, but I'm glad I've watched this. I learned a lot. This is crazy. So yeah, comment below. Let me know if you already knew some of these things already. I mean, I already knew Barry was a writer. Well, they all writers. Cause I've seen like certain songs that I would react to, or certain songs I hear, I will search it to see who wrote the song, and I'm always see a Barry name, or either Barry or Robin. I will always see their name. They're very talented, very, very talented, but that is crazy how people went that far to ban those type of music. That is crazy. Like, like there's a lot of songs that I don't like, and I'm quite sure there's a lot of songs that you don't like, and you don't, that's not your type of thing. But would you really go that far to like protest and like we hate those songs, and like why? Like who has those type? You have to have like I can't even say what I want to say. It's ridiculous. That's what I'm trying to say. It's so freaking ridiculous. It's sad in the same time. They would, but it's okay because the Bee Gees, they're well known. When you hear the 80s songs or 80s music, the first thing you're thinking about is like the Bee Gees and other artists. So it's okay. The Bee Gees songs will last forever. Their name will last forever. Yeah, they, from generation to the next generation, your names will live on forever. So it's all good. But it's still sad though that people go that far. Like, damn. Like, get a life. But yeah, if you like this video, let me know if you like this video. Give this video a thumbs up if you like it, and you want me to write more of these type of songs. Song. I'm so used to saying songs. If you like this type of video, let me know. Is there like an artist you would like me to like learn a little bit about? I would definitely like to react to that. Yeah, and like I said, give this video a thumbs up if you're a fan of the Bee Gees and you'd like to learn more about them. I would definitely try to react more of videos about them, because I want to know more about them. I really do. I don't know a lot about them, their personal life, but yeah. So subscribe to my channel too. Don't forget to subscribe. The button is down there. I see it. Subscribe. I'll wait. Oh, finish. And I'll see you lovely people. You gotta take care of yourself. Bye and peace. crazy.